Earth Space Union's Alien Asset Files, Number 1. Private Kapal. Loading prison research.txt. The only way to restore our ability to teleport would be to figure out how the Aleutians generated negative energy. Jakov checked on my progress every day, as the brigands geared up to invade Jolan and take it for themselves. He wanted teleportation in his back pocket. I hoped the human pirate and Fikre the traitor would discover for themselves that not even superpower would let them take on a whole alien planet. That'd make my escape easier. Uncovering the Dimension Hopper's secrets was a tall task, one that left me to turn to the mathematics that had predicted its existence. This concept had always been the solution to wormhole equations, which gave us the ability to alter spacetime. For it to exist on its own, it would require the most extreme forces in the universe. The area where all physics and the corresponding numbers got crazy was, of course, black holes. Gravity pulling down to an infinitely small point, a singularity where time ceased to function.
Could that be a natural 5D gateway? If those levels of gravity allow an outside observer to exist outside spacetime? A quantum disturbance in the singularity, almost like what humans call Hawking radiation on the event horizon, would push those infinities elsewhere. The mathematical solution for white holes, the exact opposite of black holes, where time itself is reversed. I finished scribbling in chalk on the wall. And time can only be reversed by negative energy. White holes expel exotic matter. Space would flow outward faster than it flows in, punching new universes from the deletion of ours. Infinity! If the Aleutians harvested negative energy, they had to send a ship for a singularity, have it survive, then build a portal over in the mirror universe to bring it back.
Wait, what? Dawson exclaimed, brown eyes utterly lost. I have no idea what the fuck you're on about. I dusted my paws off, tapping my chin. It doesn't help us much if I'm right. I can't just fly for a black hole and emerge to scoop up some negative energy while it's causing a big bang. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe try,
Reg hissed from the opposing cell.
Matter flows inward, and time freezes at that one, infinitely small point, right?
I drew a diagram of a funnel on the wall, drawing a Vaskar-style harpoon arrow to point.
The map says there could be an opposite. It would reverse everything, right? And time would freeze and matter would flow outward, after that infinity. White holes would then not exist after that single expansion, but they leave the ingredients of a new universe from ours.
Dawson squinted, adjusting the makeshift leg cast I fashioned for him. Hold on, you're saying black holes eat matter, then spit it out in another universe?
Exactly. That infinity has to go somewhere, but the disturbance can only loop back to the start. It goes in reverse like integer overflow in a computer. That negative energy holds open a wormhole, and physics are equally wonky with a negative infinity that's moving through.
Prison has gotten to Kapal. He's lost it,
Jetty squawked. Where else can negative energy exist in nature, except for the beginning? The reverse of entropy. I just don't know how the Aleutians ever gained access to it.
Reg tilted his head.
Integer overflows? Like computers? Yeah. Well, if the nature of our reality, or at least mathematics, is to express infinite energy in such a way, it doesn't necessarily mean anything, other than the properties of singularities breaking physics. So, going faster than light will create infinite energy, and break the universe and its physics through integer overflow? That's why the Aleutians need a negative energy translation barrier? Yes. In the case of the attack on Sol, it's why the universe would have likely imploded into a singularity wormhole. Oh, speaking of which, this would all mean peering at spacetime from the fifth dimension would be looking at a singularity. It's not just all time, it's infinite time and space. Time does not flow in transit, it's a relative eternity. That's what breaks organic minds. It's all existence, all at once.
Then why can we handle it? Dawson demanded.
I don't know. To put it in computer terms, it's a DDoS attack on the mind. Too many information packets, therefore none can get through. Clogged like an artery. Perhaps human brains have learned to process time like outside observers. How would that even work? Well, you'd prune the data that's unintelligible, an ability we haven't developed. What isn't muck might be usable, so your brain hangs onto it. The precog is just like an AI's data imputation, filling in the missing bits through guesswork. You draw connections from your current timeline and lived experience. How clear the visions are, it's solely based on how much usable data you have. That's just... Are you an actual genius? And they wasted you in infantry?
Let's not get carried away. I'm simply a guy who wanted to teach history.
Bullshit.
It's all just a useless theory. I can't get through a black hole to harvest it, like I said, so we're shit out of luck and getting more negative energy. And without that, how can I give us the ability to teleport?
I suggest that you figure something out, an unamused human voice said.
I squinted in confusion as Jakov Rukavina strolled through the prison walkway, pacing between the cells with a shrewd glint in his eyes. Shouldn't he have been away from this facility if he was spearheading the raid on Jolan? The dimension hopper surveyed me like a cut of meat while clasping both arms behind his back. I scrambled to think of a way to appease him, even if it was a false hope given the technology I had at my disposal. However, my desire to placate the brigand fizzled out when I saw the human video conferencing on a tablet with Fikre. The traitorous android must have been reviewing my work to see if there was any credibility to my findings. Jakov didn't want me to bullshit him, so he ran everything for his robot ally. The inorganic Vaskar was gone, however, eager to pillage through Jolan and bend my people to its will. I scowled at the metal face on the screen, biting my lower lip hard. If I ever get out of here, I will hunt Fikre down and make it pay for its short-sighted, cruel choices. We had a plan, but it was more than happy to sell us out. All it does is hate organics, and if Jakov's really not a blind murderer, he's going to regret having it on his roster. Kapal has some useful insights to contribute. There is a reason I deem this creator to have some processing capacity, so I calculate he would have the best odds of any organic, Fikre stated. You should keep him around.
Jakov arched an eyebrow. Long as progress keeps being made. Remember to sow some lawlessness and disorder on Jolan. I'm trusting you to lead in that department.
There is no course of action that would be more of a delight to my processor. You are less enfeebling than the rest of your species.
Oh, I quite agree, Fikre. I'll be in touch.
He smiled and waved a few fingers at the android before snapping his head up towards us.
I thought you'd like to hear what your old travel buddy is up to. Brigands are an accepting crowd. Even my organic Vaskar shipmates offer no objection. A score's a score.
That android just wants the blood of its creators, Reg stated. I always said Fikre couldn't be trusted, and I must implore you to consider the same thing. You don't want a cutthroat robot to make things messy, if not for fear of it killing your crew while they sleep, for the sole reason the local population will resist more if your invasion is messy.
Oh, darlings, that's the point. I wanted you to see the events on Jolan. I wouldn't want you to be left out. Home sweet home, Kapal?
I scratched behind my ears. The space gate is my home as far as I'm concerned. I've already lost the people who made me want to be a part of their community. That would be the other humans, who you're so quick to forget.
What exactly would you have me do about the Aleutians picking us up and plopping us back in Sol? I see an opportunity. I want you and your brilliant mind to watch, because you might get it.
I craned my neck at the tablet, as a scowling Dawson watched from the floor and spit in Jakov's direction. My human friend seemed horrified by the armada of spaceships descending on Jolan, whose defenses and protective fleet had been stripped away by the ESU's invasion. This was the second incursion in the span of a few years. Under the human occupation, the Vaskar hadn't been permitted to build our forces back up. The Dimension Hoppers were law and order, our protection against Mikri's people. That's the saving grace of Jakov attacking, that the rest of the robots like Fikre don't have time to finish wiping us out. The brigands protecting us would mean we might still survive, even if the machines decide there's no reason to keep us around. I can't say how much longer The network will hold back. Storm gods. I miss the humans. Life in Keelan was better when they were around. We had known an unparalleled peace, and just as Representative Reg had said, they were working toward mending the old wounds. I forced myself to focus on the footage Jakov was receiving from the ground, where the brigands were looting the newly rebuilt city around the old royal palace. I could see a mechanical Vasgar charging off the ship to chase after civilians, eyes glowing with glee. Fikray. A sigh swelled upward and out from my nostrils, reminding me how easily it could have gone through with choking me to death when the Aleutians attacked. Other pirates were robbing or just shooting people on the streets, stripping them of valuables. I glimpsed a regal figure prowling behind them, in flamboyant attire, and that was the part that got my gears turning. It was Prince Laramak proclaiming his return, demanding that the people surrender to his army and pay up to finance his reclamation of his rightful lifestyle atop the throne. He was broadcasting the announcement over television channels, by the looks of it, and speaking as if his subjects should be excited. Laramak the Insane was not missed by the populace, which is why so many had grown partial to the humans. Individual freedoms had been at an all-time high. Young people weren't conscripted into this unending war the way I was, and we were making scientific progress alongside the Alliance aliens that had washed their paws of us. It was then that I understood why Jakov had kept the prince around and let him believe that he was calling the shots. Laramak was unpopular, so the human would love a human riding in and saving the day. I see, I murmured. You raid Jolan, Laramak takes the blame. Jakov beamed, the scruff on his beard stretching with the curvature of his plump lips. I'll ride in for show, throw a few spaceships around, then feed this ass-clown to the people. I'll remind them how much better life was under humanity, and they'll welcome me. I promise to get the brigands under control and keep them safe from anyone else. They will welcome me, revere me. Because of course, one human couldn't take a planet alone, Dawson spat, loathing in his voice. They have to put you in charge willingly. I'm not so sure about this, I hesitated, before deciding it might deter him from taking advantage of my people. What happens if the Aleutians find out a human is in charge of Jolan? The brigand scoffed. I figured out one thing about them Greys. They don't care what goes on in Keelan. They removed all the ESU soldiers from Jolan. They're not watching it anymore. They don't give a shit about the Vasgar or anyone else then, so what's to say it's any different now? They sound a lot like you, Jetty squawked. This is what powerful people always do. You make others jump to your wishes. It's why I spent so much time fearing humanity. You are a monster. I'm just giving the people of Jolan what they want. If they didn't desire me deep down, well then, this wouldn't work. I am a genuine improvement over Laramak, and they'll have good lives. No fear of execution, just a ruler they adore who came from an exile species when they needed him most. The last human. I'll be special. Truly a god among men. I shot a look at Dawson, not wanting him to draw Jakov's wrath. We'll never be gods the way the Aleutians are, not if we don't figure this technology out. I guess at the end of the day, that's what matters. I just want my people to live peaceful lives. No more fear of outside entities. Tell me you will protect them. I'll be invested in ensuring their safety and contentment. I won't mess up a good thing. We can find a way to do business, so long as you can get what you want. I'll let you barter for some kind of freedom, a respected position in society. A teacher. You wanted to be a teacher, didn't you? I sucked in a sharp breath. Of course I did, but life took me on a different path. The work I'm doing now is important and fulfilling. I'm just saying, there are rewards at the end of the tunnel. I'll be able to satisfy any dream you might have. This will be a good thing. Someone has to fill the power vacuum the ESU left, so it might as well be a human. It might as well be me. Jakov turned tail and departed from the prison block, his eyes glued to his tablet. Jolan's footage was enthralling the human with the promise that his plan was almost complete. I flopped down in a dazed silence, sitting beside scribbled equations on the wall. I couldn't think of a way out of this mess, other than gaining his trust enough to get access to our limited supply of negative energy. After all, figuring out that it came from white holes wasn't going to help me harvest it. There was no solution, no mirroring the Aleutians. As delightful as it was to understand the concepts, it was a dead end for all practical applications of them.
Defeated and regretting that I ever stepped into a leadership role for our ragtag group, I considered giving up on researching the portals.